All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Lucky Duck. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
Yep. This the new thing. It doesn't have it. The last one had a timer on it, so I knew it's 6 seconds to start like fading down. This new one does not have that. It's just got like a little pie graph.
You have trouble counting to 6?
There's no 6 on there. It's just it starts out as a full circle, and then it starts like eating away. So I just got to guess at about what we got.
Did you know when we was in Puerto Rico, Reese wanted to know how far it was to where we were getting off the raft? And Michelle told him it was 5 minutes away. And he goes, how long is that? She goes, count to 300. And he counted to 300. Michelle said that lady next to him was driving her crazy.
Oh.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. She said he got to like 43 and he's like 40. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, started again. It was hot. People were wanting to get car sick, and he was counting to 300. Anyways, with us today is my good friend from Wichita Falls, the Dove King, Mr. Rustin Morgan. Hello, with Dry Creek Outfitters. How you doing, Rustin?
Good. How are y'all?
The Dove King.
How's dove season looking now? Because last year was a hard dove season by most people's standards. And your standards are really high because you've got that Wichita Falls area locked down. Big city, lots of food around town, and a lot of city birds.
Yeah, I think the lack of spring storms and, no hail, no wind, sucks that we haven't gotten any rain. But for the dove population, especially the local dove population, it's a really good thing.
So you would say this is a quiet weather year then so far?
Absolutely. I think we've gotten 2 measurable inches of rain in holidays since September of last year. I mean, it's rained around us. Burke's gotten 4 or 5 inches, and I guess y'all said y'all got a couple inches last week or last Monday.
we've had more rain in the last 4 weeks out here.
There's a bubble around Holiday and Owl Park, and it is not raining.
We have had no rain this year. I storm chase. I have been on zero tornadoes this year. I can't remember. It's been since I was in high school. I wasn't in a tornado warning at least once a year, and I don't know how many severe thunderstorm warnings I've been in, but it hadn't been many.
There hasn't been anything around Wichita Falls. They had that one roll through Jacksboro, I guess, but that's the only severe storm that I even know of.
Throckmorton's living right because they had 15 inches, I think, in April and May.
I'm fixing to look up now.
Zach and them are living right, I guess. We're doing something wrong. What are you trying to look up?
I'm going to look up the West Texas Mesonet, actually how much rain we've had.
You were just on it.
No, it's a different one I'm looking up, though.
Everybody's getting excited about they saw like a model come out a couple days ago saying, it's the average is going to be higher. Well, how high could it really be? Because the average in July is next to nothing.
Yeah.
Andy's trying to blame it all on me.
0.5. No, you did. You saw a forecast that you liked, and you just ran with it.
And I said, I hope for a change. They're right. I did say that.
Because he's calling for, one of your friends who said we were going to get a tropical depression. We won't mention that.
Daniel Carter from OU.
He said that
Oklahoma
August
University
was going to be cool and wet. And then I guess Joe Bastardi said it, and I guess Damon Lane said it also.
No, Joe Bastardi said August.
That's what I said. August was going to be cool and wet.
You said June.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't.
See, this is how we get fucked up on stuff, Andy.
August was going to be cool and wet.
Yes. And now it's looking that we're going to have a trend. It's starting in 6 days. Next Wednesday, we got a good chance of rain. So when we're in St. Louis, when we go out of town, the good people in Knox and Haskell County listen. And I know a lot of y'all listen to this. If y'all will pull together and collect a bunch of money, me and Michelle will go to Scotland for 2 weeks. And it'll rain every day we're gone. And if it doesn't rain, then we got a good vacation out of it.
It's going to rain every day in Scotland for you.
Well, I know. But I'm talking about here while I'm gone.
Well, especially while you're in Seattle. It'll rain up there for sure.
Well, you would think
Bring it back down with you, please.
We're going to push it all. We'll push it all down. Scotland's a place that I want to go. More that I look at it, where are you going? You're going to Edinburgh?
No, we're going to
Glasgow?
I don't know exactly where we're going. We're going to Scotland. We're going to fly in either to Glasgow. Probably going to fly into Glasgow. I want to drive the west coast of Scotland. I want to go to the little towns. I want to go to all that stuff. I want to go to the Highlands. I don't give two shits about going to London, other than I would like to go to Harrods. I don't care about seeing Buckingham Palace and Big Ben and all that bullshit and dancing with Muslims and all that other crap they do. Does not even tickle my fancy. I want to go to Scotland. I want to drive in the Highlands. I want to drink
one. You need to shoot geese while you're in Scotland.
Pink feet.
We're going to upstate New York in October, and I've had 2 people already ask me to come hunting while I'm there, and I appreciate it so much, but I don't care. That doesn't interest me that much.
I wouldn't buy a hunting license in that state.
Upstate New York's beautiful and nice people. You get outside New York City, people are great. And there's a lot of good people in New York City. Have you been to New York City?
I haven't.
See, there you're being an ass for no reason at all. You ain't even been there. They're good people.
Yeah.
Do you know some good people in Dallas?
Yeah,
Would you live in that shithole?
No.
There you go, me either. But there's a lot of good people in Dallas.
Yeah.
Lots of good people in Dallas. I mean, it's so bad the Cowboys left.
It's just sad when you think of the state, you think of liberalism, I guess.
Austin, Texas. I know some good people in Austin, but you couldn't pay me to live in that damn traffic jam.
That's another one that's a mess.
And it's growing, too. That's where everybody's going.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours is moving down there.
I don't understand. Okay, I'm gonna give you the weather precip history for Odell, Texas, and of course it's got from July last year through March is the only thing they've updated. So there hasn't been any rain this spring. They've had 7/10.
You have to talk into your microphone.
2.3, 2.5, 3.8 inches of rain in Odell, Texas from July through March. Less than 3 inches of rain.
And it actually, per radar, looks like it's rained more there than it has.
I haven't got there. It doesn't. It didn't update the last 3 months. So they've had a little bit more rain, but not much.
What does it say in Holiday?
Holiday does not have West Texas Mesonet.
I got you.
But
so you're just looking through April?
That's all they have on this deal that's loaded up right now. Tulia, Texas. July they had 1.2, August 1.3. That's 2.4, less than 5 inches of rain there. I mean, that's just taking some areas all out of just different spots. Dumas. Well, Dumas ain't going to show up. Right south of Dumas, they've had, they went 1-2. November, December, January, February, and March, they had a half inch of rain. That's it. I mean, so yeah, we are, and they've had some rain too. So that doesn't. The last couple of months have been wetter than you.
I know for a fact during hunting season this last year that it did not rain one time.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it a lot better when we have to use 4-wheel drive and use Rangers to get people in and out.
Yeah.
When we're not doing that, then it's not very good. So,
I sure don't.
Have we bounced back from the freeze on the dove? You think?
I think so. Yeah, I still see a lot of dove. Like my little sister has a bird feeder in her backyard, and there's tons of white wings that come to it in the evening and in the morning, and a bunch of them are limping around on one leg still.
They've survived. So, they're old dove, and that's the senior citizens,
right? And I know that just in my backyard alone, I got a tree that's had 2 or 3 dove nesting in it, and I've seen 2 sets of birds out of each nest grow up and leave since March. So. But we haven't had any rain or storms or wind or anything, so nothing to knock them out.
It's going to be interesting to see what the deer population is going to be. We've got a little fawn out here right now. I see him all the time little baby. And we fed 80 deer out here all winter long. Well, this time of year they spread out more and there's green, so they're not all just cooped together. But I'm curious to see because we had a hell of a deer season last year. Everybody did. Horns were good, but we had a real wet spring last year.
Yeah.
We had a dry spring this year, so I'm curious to see if we're going to offset the dove coming back by having a bad deer crop.
I think typically the dove season is better on a drier year. It's always shown me that when it's hot and dry, it's always been the best. Deer not having any protein, they're going to be lacking in some areas for sure.
Yes, we need the rain in the spring for the deer, but for the dove we need it dry, and we need some fronts. Right. We got to have some cold fronts.
The lack of rain in mesquite country isn't always a terrible thing for deer, because when the mesquite trees stress really bad, I don't know if you noticed that the beans
they're everywhere.
They have a red tint to them. Mm-hmm. They say when the mesquite beans have a red tint like that they actually hold the most protein that they'll ever hold.
Really?
So on a drier year, your protein mainly comes from mesquite beans.
My father-in-law used to say all the time, if you had a lot of beans, it was going to be a cold winter. Well, if the beans we have now is any indication of that, everybody better stock up on firewood.
I hope you're right.
Because there's beans everywhere.
Yeah, I hope it does get cold.
So let's talk about dove season. Let's talk about the app.
The app.
The app.
What do you call it?
It's just the name of the app is Dry Creek Outdoors.
But it's an app.
Name. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, I mean, basically the reason behind it was, which Jeff, I think Andy told me that you were working on one as well.
Looking at getting one.
We're at the very, very like starting line. If there's a starting line, like we're still warming up in the bleachers.
Well, just you can trial and error off of what I'm doing. I can tell you a lot about the whole initial process. I made a few notes here in my phone, but the idea behind the app was just to make everything a little more user friendly and let customers engage, with the group that they're hunting with, and with me with less cell phone traffic per se, because you can do everything that I do to run my business through this app. I mean, everything, and things that I feel like most people wouldn't even think of.
So is this something that you had somebody, did you have like a design team on this?
Yeah, they're still on it. We're set to launch on August 1st.
That's why I can't find it right now.
Right, yeah. I have it on my phone. I can show you on my phone.
Jeff was going to go down. I was going to be your first customer.
I was going to be your first downloader. Yeah. I figured I'd be the 1,000th, but...
But no, I've been working with a company out of Nashville since about the middle of January. And, of course, you go through all the back end and, like, figure out exactly what you want the app to do and how you can get the app to make you money. That way your initial upfront cost is lower. And then right now it's about format and layout, and we're finishing that and the stuff on the back end, and then we're going to launch it on August 1st.
Has it been frustrating? You said since January. So we're July. That's 7 months of just...
Yeah, I have 2 Zoom meetings a week that, It just kind of depends on how long they take, but they send me proofs every single day of updates and what they're changing, and then I, approve along the way or tell them the changes that I'd like to make or whatever, and it's a long process. It's a lot longer than I thought, and it costs a lot more.
Yeah, because you look at it...
Can we get into that? Or do you not want to talk about
that? Maybe not the dollar amount.
Well, that was what I wanted to talk about.
Well, like, it's funny because you look at something like Twitter or Facebook and you pull it up on your phone and you're like, how fucking hard could that be?
Yeah.
So the average outfitter can't afford to get an app.
I wouldn't say, the end goal in this, or the end goal in mind at one point, I guess in the beginning phase, was to develop something that would make outfitters' lives easier. And eventually the format will be able to purchase the format that I'm using if you don't want to create your own. So my upfront cost of upwards of $75,000 to $100,000 before I'm done, maybe I can sell it to whatever other outfit for $20,000 for the format, and you just take it. But it'll be a patented deal. So
you're not just making you an app, then you're patenting the design of the app to fit outfitters.
Right.
So that's a ground floor or something, because there's very few guys out there going to pay $75,000 to $100,000 for that.
Well, and that's the
kind of
idea
app.
behind it. Is they think, oh wow, that's really cool, and then as bad as I would want to be the only one that has one and be the cool guy, whatever it is, I'd like, if you want to use it and you don't want to spend $70,000, you should be able to pay $10,000, $15,000 and get the same setup and use it yourself.
So that's the business model you went by then.
Well, that, and then selling ad space, and I've already sold ad space from other companies, and so initially by the end of it, it's not going to be a whole lot out of pocket.
I think for young people, this is a really good deal. Now, when I say young people, old guys like me have a hard time with the app.
Right.
I've got the Sonic app on my phone. I've used it. No, once I learned how to use it, it's actually easy. The problem is, I can't drive and run a fucking app. No offense. I can't do that shit.
Right, but he's
no.
They're not fucking ordering fast food.
No, that's right. What I'm saying is it's two different worlds, though.
Let me ask you this: if you have, would you say that the people, I can say this, maybe you can't, but would you say that the people that are in charge of your hunts are most likely the most techno savvy people in their group?
The younger people, yes. We're living in a younger world. That's what I'm saying. For young people, it's a real easy solution for y'all, because y'all are raised on phones.
Right.
And y'all are more apt to it. People my age, there's some of us are very, very, very technologically savvy.
Right.
Then there's Jeff Stanfield. and I'm not as much. Now,
Sure.
I do use my Sonic app. That's what I'm saying. I'm using, but I'll do this. I'll order, like me and Michelle are going to Abilene, and I'll be like, "Do you want something to drink? You want pizza? Whatever the hell it is." And we'll order it, and I'll pick it up, and I'll say I'll be there in 15 minutes. Well, it's 20 minutes to Haskell, but that way some bitch is ready when I get there.
Right.
Pull in, I hit the button, or you 17. You've got that Sonic app, don't y'all?
No, we have Chick-fil-A app.
Okay, I don't have that yet, but I would like that to save time. But anyways, you get there and it's on your Apple Pay or whatever, and it's done. It's a very simple deal. I like it, but I can't do it if I'm by myself driving down the road. And I've never used it like we're traveling and like, hey, see if there's a Sonic within 30 miles. I want something to drink, and we're on interstate somewhere.
Right.
The hunting deal's a different deal. You're going to say, now, I use the apps all the time to book. American Airlines, I use their app a lot. So, yes, I mean, I think it's a really good deal. I'm just saying the younger generations which are going to come up, I think you're really onto something really good, because it is – young people look for an app for everything. Right. Pizza Hut, whatever it is. I don't. Older people my age, I don't think of an app.
Right.
If I'm thinking about going to hunt a dove hunt with you or a waterfowl or whatever it is, I look up Dry Creek Outfitters.
Right.
I don't think of looking for an app.
Right.
But the younger people do.
I think some of the feedback I've gotten from the older generation even is people fear that this is going to be something that does away with the personal aspect of booking a hunt. You don't get to you can download the app for free if you want, but you don't get to just go in there and make you an account without me creating the account for you. So if you
book
a hunt with me, then I create an account for you to then use.
Half my hunts I sell, I don't even talk to anybody anymore on.
Right.
Unless they're a new customer, they text me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same deal, though.
Text or they
you're
email.
Still not doing away with the personal aspect of engaging with your customer. It's not here, don't ring my phone, don't email me, just download the app and do it all there. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make it more user-friendly. Like some of the features in it, one that you said that you didn't like was the landowner user role, which is like a whole different aspect of the app, but something I wanted my landowners to be able to have if they wanted it. So say that Andy owns 100 acres here, 300 acres here, and they all got their names or whatever they are. If I go hunt on Andy, I can create Andy an account, Andy Shaver, whatever account I want to make for him, give him the details to log in. He can change his passcode or whatever. Well, all he's going to see when he logs in is the places that I've hunted, the day that I hunted them, the number of people that I took hunting in there, and then the agreed upon amount that I owe them with a cash out option at the bottom. So they can always keep up with where you've been, who you've hunted, how much money you owe them. And then, day before Christmas rolls around and they can, look and see, oh, Rustin owes me, $500, and he can hit cash out. His bank account can be linked to it. His Venmo can be linked to it, PayPal, whatever. He hits cash out and bang, it's right in his account.
I think that's a good idea on that part.
And then he doesn't even have to haggle for a check.
Right. And if they request a check, then we pop a check in there.
Right. That's interesting. So they can see everywhere that you've been, and then they can know just, I need that.
Because most of my stuff, stuff that I try and engage, whether I have something leased or not.
Right.
Whether it's day leased or whatever, I'm always engaging in conversation with my landowners because I want them to know exactly what I'm doing, when I'm going to be in there, when I'm leaving.
So what other? So you can book a hunt if you. I mean, you can create an account, and so they'll have your.
Right. So if you call me and say, I want a waterfowl hunt. I have 8 guys. We want to hunt the 11th through the 13th of December. Mm-hmm. I will create you an account, and then it will give you that number of logins per user code. So if you create the account, I'll give you hunt code HS77. You'll talk to your buddies and say, hey, if you want to stay in touch with what we're trying to do here, download this app, create this account. It'll have 8 spaces to create their account in the back end. This is stuff they don't see. Right. They enter the hunt code, and then it automatically throws everybody in your group in a group chat. So you can talk about what's coming up, who needs to bring what, whatever. And then I'm also in the back end visibly being able to see, the questions that you may have, where I can just kind of butt in whenever and just say, hey, yeah, make sure you bring that, or we have this, don't worry about it, or whatever, where you can kind of, keep in touch with everybody that's showing up to hunt.
And that's a good thing too. People don't like to be engaged all the time. So I think this is that part's really good. Like I said earlier, and you're the same way. You get an email from a guy or text. He says, hey, I want to book Monday, the first Monday and Tuesday in December. Take it that's what we want again, and you send him an invoice.
Right.
And you don't talk to him until he shows up at your door the night before to hunt sometimes. There's groups like that out there. Then you got the guy that asked 4,312 questions just in June, you know.
Well, and if you don't want me, you know, to engage with you in the chat, you can opt out of that.
Well, no. What I'm saying, though, is there's more customers these days don't want to jack with a bunch of stuff. They want to book a hunt, be done with it.
Right.
You've got the guy, then you've got the other guy that wants to ask 1,000 questions in the deal. You've got that guy, and that's calling you right now.
They can ask the group, and then when the question is answered, they can refer back to the group chat instead of each individual person thinking they need to reach out to Rustin and ask him what shotgun shells they need to bring. You know.
Did any of them questions wear you out?
Oh man.
I have a guy every year, and I've got one that I've been dealing with lately that asks me every question, and I'm thinking, Jesus, dude, it is April and May.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think the weather's going to be like? Well, fuck, I can tell you right now, I can't even tell you what 10 days from now it's going to be like, or 7.
I had somebody text me yesterday and ask me what opening day of dove season looked like.
I'll tell you.
It's on a Thursday, right?
Let's get about 7 weeks closer to that, and then I can give you an
days
answer.
Later.
I have seen it 70 degrees and cool and raining all day, and I've seen it 115 that day.
Exactly.
So let's hope for the 70-degree day, really.
Let's just go in the middle and figure it's going to be 93. I mean,
but that's the kind of stuff that's irritating. But you're going to get that anyways. I think it's a very good tool that you've got. I think
another thing too is it's so when you show up to hunt, it's going to send push notifications. So whenever I make a plan the night before, I just say, you know, hey, we're leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, that evening, it's going to send them a text message, and it's going to say, hey, remember, in the morning at 5 o'clock, you're leaving so and so place. And then, you know, while they're hunting Sunday morning, because maybe that's their last day here, it'll say, hey, remember, checkout time's 11:30. You know, just stuff like that. While they're here, I can just go in and.
That is a really good deal, because I follow up on that shit a lot of times.
Well, because then, you know, I don't know about y'all, but I get people mosey back in there at 1 o'clock. They're still gathering their bags together and trying to get out of there. So
here it's not so, because we do lunch at noon. So most of the people are like, okay, we're going to go shower and we'll get all of our shit out and then we'll eat lunch. So that's one thing that kind of spurs them along, is they know, like, lunch, we got to be out.
I dealt with that dove season last year. I've got a guy a big corporate group that hunts here, and they own a big ranch out here. And they hunted, and we were leaving them on Sunday, and I had another group coming in like Sunday afternoon or whatever day it was. And I told him before, I was like, listen, I need y'all to be out of here by at least 9 in the morning. The bags out of the rooms, because we don't do lunch on them days. And most people dove hunt, they're done by 9 in the morning anyways. And let's say I might have said 10. I said, I need y'all out of here by 10, at least out of the room, so the ladies can get everything redone and new sheets and everything. And that guy's like, oh, no problem. Well, one of the guys went at 8, and it was like 11:30, 11:45. I was like, you know. He tipped the girls about $100 a piece extra for making them late, which was really nice of him. He didn't have to do that, but
it still sets you back, though.
And it ended up not being that big. It was only one room, so I wasn't that big a deal. But I was at the panic mode because we had the whole place was sold out again. I was like, son of a bitch.
That was one thing I was going to ask. So do you set up your calendar to where it only takes a certain amount of like you only take 25 people a day, or how does that work?
So you don't actually book through the app. You're still booking in person, you know, via text or phone call. So I just, when you call and set up the hunt, whatever I may do on my calendar on the side or on the computer, I just go put it in the system.
So they don't have access
they don't get to
your
click
calendar
on dates and see when
Right.
you're open or anything like that. It does all of your invoicing. So it'll run similar to QuickBooks inside the app. So you can set up auto pay. You can set up cards that stay on file. I even setting it up to where you know, like some of these college kids, like I'm giving them the option to do like a 90-day financing deal if they don't want to front anything. So you can finance your hunt at 4% or whatever and pay it out over the course of 3 months.
Ooh, that's a pretty good idea.
And
Look at that.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I got some companies that would do that spend a lot of money with me because they don't want to spend it, but
all at once.
Well, so we set it up, and the app will automatically, decide who we're going to do that with. Because you have to have cash flow in the hunting business because you got to make it through the summertime.
Yep.
So only 33% of our booked hunts we're going to allow to be financed because that's really all we can afford. But if you, based off of my calendar year, if 33% of my people during waterfowl season decide to choose the 4% route, That's an extra $34,000 a year just by letting them pay it out over the course of 90 days.
I had another outfitter, and he's on the West Coast, called me, I don't know, a month or two ago, and he goes, what do you do with your deposits? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I mean, I just got them in an account because he said, I'm not ever going to spend any of my deposits till hunting season. He goes, what does everybody else do? I said, most outfitters I know live on them during the off season. They pay people's salaries. They pay for land. They pay for, I mean, it's just part of work. I said, it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I mean, yeah, you want them to show up, but that's, it's a lot of the point. The cash flow is the point.
I said, you must do really well for yourself if you don't have to, if you don't touch the deposits for till hunting season gets here.
I'm only living off the cash I make during the hunting season.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Well, every outfitter I know does it to pay leases and pay electric bills, and I mean, it's a different world depending on what level you are. If you guys
just running and gunning,
if you by yourself and it's just a one guy show and you hunt 5 people a day, and you got a regular job as a brick mason, let's say, then maybe you don't do that. But the guys, anybody that's got lodge and a bunch of other stuff, they got a lot of other stuff going on, and it's a cash flow business.
Right.
We work 12 months a year. We may hunt 5 months a year, but we work 12 months a year. Right. Some days are not as hard. I mean, you look like you really had a hard time. You've been on the lake how many times in the last week?
No, I haven't been. I've been to the lake 5 times this year because this little app I've been working on
consumes. He's got 2 Zoom meetings a week.
But you enjoy life a lot of times too, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Jeez.
Yeah, that's how I set up. I do a lot of sublease and stuff like deer leases and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got that shit going on.
A lot of that, but I strategically set up, the renewal dates throughout the summertime so that I have the money. Like some of them renew in March, some renew in April, some renew in May, so on and so forth. They're all due, to the landowner in October, but it's just constant money so that it's not yours. It gives you something to operate off of, and then until your busy time of year when you reimburse yourself with, whatever. But cash flow is crucial in this business.
All businesses are the same. It's just different models and different types of businesses, but we all operate basically the same way.
Right.
We got to have more coming in than we have going out, or we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's a little tighter than others.
Right.
The big boys get to use debt somehow. I hadn't figured that out. I was watching Grant Cardone. He was talking about how like McDonald's and Apple and pick your big company, but they all use debt somehow, and they use somebody else's money.
The business to get into would have been the heroin trade in Harlem in 1963.
Yeah, that would have been the one.
Do you watch Netflix much? Or
yeah, I watch all those Narcos.
Have you watched The King of Harlem on Amazon Prime?
Mm-hmm.
Woo! It's getting close to The Wire and Sopranos good. It is. Have you watched it?
No,
it is.
I don't.
It is. You don't have Amazon Prime?
You've got way more fucking time than
I do. And at nighttime, I stayed up till 1 o'clock last night watching that show. I watched about 3 episodes every night. I love that show.
I stayed up till midnight last night, but it was working.
Well, we have different paths in life we take, Andy.
We did, and I'm questioning mine.
No, you don't. What would you be doing?
I was last night.
You were going to be a football coach.
When it was fucking midnight, and I was still looking at this goddamn screen.
Well, that's because you're learning a new process out.
I cracked that fucking computer up last night, and nothing was lining up. I told Jess, I said, I'm about done. This is pissing me off. Fucking new studio was supposed to make shit easier and new equipment, and it did nothing but complicate my life. You got a fucking app coming up. You're like, this will be so easy. This will be so much better if I can just get this. And then you get in the middle of it, and you're like, this will fucking
I can promise you that from my idea from the get-go is like, man, this will make life so much simpler.
Yeah.
Handling this on the back end is going to make life way more complicated. For sure. But I think it increases the value of my business in the long run, someday whenever I want to be done.
When Joe Blow from Flat Rock Outfitters, and if there's a Flat Rock Outfitters, I'm using this, I don't even have a clue what it would be, calls you and says, hey, I would like to give you $15,000 to use your setup on the deal, you're going to say, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Once it pays for itself, then it's just...
You'd be surprised what people pay for a banner ad.
Yeah.
Like a pop-up banner ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hunting related in the hunting industry.
Yeah. So did you just know people to reach out to, or did they somehow through osmosis
that
find
I've worked with before? Yeah.
Right.
And we're still working on, the really good ones, but it's gonna be awesome. It's definitely gonna pay for itself tenfold whenever it comes down to that.
There you go, and that's how it works. Go watch that show though, since me and you have time. Watch King of Harlem. It's very, very good. But the Guineas, which is Italian, I'm Italian, so I can call them Guineas. They would loan money to these people and pay 21% for 3 weeks. would you not be loaning money at 21% for 3 weeks? And we're not talking about $1,000. We're talking about 100, 200, 300,000 other drug dealers. But the end result's the same for everybody.
Everybody gets behind, and you got to
Either-
break
no,
some
well,
fucking knuckles.
No, it's not even about that. But the end result, that's a bad game to be in because you don't retire. We've talked about that on another podcast. But anyways, it's a very good series.
The one show that I did, and it was per Jeff's request, was Helter Skelter.
Ooh, that's a good
Maryland. I watched episode 2, and it makes you feel bad for Charlie Manson.
Not by episode 3, you don't.
Like he had he was.
Had you not heard his life story before?
No, fucking awful.
They
Made
left
my heart break.
They
for him.
left off some stuff because I read a book on him one time. His mom was a whore. Basically,
They left that out.
She was a whore and a half, and she
like
would
getting paid.
I think she was getting that shit for free.
Okay,
but she's
not a whore. She's not.
Well,
prostitute.
she would go to rooms with guys and get them take their pants off
and rob them.
And they would rob these and roll these guys up, and that's how she got.
Well, that's how she got sent to prison.
Right, but that was not a one-time deal.
Right.
And her brother was a piece of shit too. He come from a horrible background. There's no doubt about it.
His uncle made him put him in a dress and sent him to first grade. He's acting like a sissy boy, so his uncle's just like, "Fuck it, you're gonna wear a dress to school."
Wait till you get to the episode where they talk about Tex Watson's life.
That was bad too.
No, fuck, that guy was an all-American hero. Good-looking, studly kid from Farmersville, Texas. Great athlete. Dad owned a gas station there in town. Popular, banging the sorority chicks in around the area. And went to California and got on drugs and shit and fucked his life up.
Well, they said the guy that killed the first kid,
Yes.
he was an actor, good-looking guy. Went and slashed his fucking face up. No, Charlie did. Charlie slashed his face up and said, "Quit being a bitch."
Yeah, cut him across the fucking cheek and so, yeah.
Oh,
That little fucker
Charlie.
was 5'2", 120 pounds.
He's not intimidating.
No.
But like the one guy said, he was the world's worst criminal.
Yes, he was
Terrible. Horrible pimp. Couldn't rob people for shit. But I don't know.
But that is a very good series. But you feel sorry for him real bad.
Good.
And I'm gonna tell you what, Sharon Tate was one good looking son-bitch.
So how do they just like, do they break it down?
The whole thing.
All the different characters?
Everything. All the girls in the thing, the Charles Manson, his life, the girls, how they got pulled into it, how the Beach Boys was involved, Dennis Wilson.
That was on the first one.
Well, no, they're going to be a lot more in depth to him and all the music people, the people that live there. See, God dang, what's that guy's name? Greg Milner, maybe music producer. Him and Candace Bergen, who played Murphy's Brown on TV. She was she dated him. She was an actress, and he lived in that Terry Milcher, maybe. Anyways, he lived in that house, and Charlie had been to a party at that house, and he thought he still lived there. And that guy basically told Charlie to get back with him on a music deal, and he didn't do it. That's why he sent the Klan to that house to kill everybody.
Charlie was a good-looking dude too.
And he did not know that.
Back in the day,
he did not know that Sharon Tate and Dickhead, the rapist, lived there. Roman Polanski.
There's a little wedding photo. Just a cute little guy. And then he turned into a monster.
I think he was always a monster.
And he turned into that.
He liked butt sex. That was his problem.
With boys.
Yeah.
Young,
We went way off on Dry Creek here, haven't we? Gotten off to the side here.
Young boy butt sex. He was sodomizing a kid with a broken glass bottle to his neck. Said, "I'll fucking kill you." Going crazy, Charlie.
So you like them Narco show? What's your favorite of all of them?
Narcos Mexico. Probably.
That's my favorite one too.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing all that stuff about El Chapo and.
Ain't it crazy how much money and shit they had and power?
Unbelievable.
And you know, which one was the one that was in Colombia? Before, not El Chapo, Pablo Escobar.
Pablo. They said that Pablo Escobar spent over $1 million a year on rubber bands to band his money.
That's a problem.
That's a lot of I'd love to have that issue.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I spent $2.49 last year.
Just to bury it in the ground and watch it deteriorate.
There's still money there.
They couldn't convert it. He couldn't figure out how to make it legitimate, so he had to just fucking hide it.
Could you imagine though? And that was the problem with him, is how much good he did too. He was a horrible, evil man and done a lot of horrible things. And he did the horrible shit his last 5 years he was alive.
Right.
Before that, he did a whole lot of good.
Yeah, well, he was just winning people over so that he'd stay out of trouble.
That's right.
It was.
Kept buying and buying and buying.
Hitler did a good job. I mean, you look at Hitler. Hitler did a really good job for Germany. He brought them out of.
Yeah,
Germany was in poverty after World War I, and he brought him out of that. He cleaned the factories up. Unfortunately, the shit that he used to clean the factories up, he gassed a whole sector of people. But Hitler did he was a good leader. He was a monster, but
he was good for Germany at one time.
He was very good for Germany at one time.
But he was good for Colombia. Did a lot for the Medine.
Yeah, he was way deep in government for sure.
Wanted to be governor.
Mm-hmm.
How much better off would Colombia been if he would have got to become governor?
Mm-hmm.
That's very questionable, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Did you see where when he got sentenced to prison, they let him build his own prison to stay in.
And had horrors coming in and out and stuff?
But it's because the same people that were locking him up forever were benefiting from his existence.
Right.
So they would send, prostitutes in there, and they built him all kinds of, they built the prison for him. He didn't even fund it. He built his own prison. They funded it because
to his liking.
Yeah. Could you imagine being in Colombia? And I don't know what the normal rate of a pay for a policeman is down there. Let's say that $10,000 a year is considered a good living in Colombia. It may be $100,000. I don't know, but you're a policeman down there, and you're making $10,000 a year, and he gives you $50,000 a year just to report to him anything he thinks he needs to know. That's all you're doing. Just report to him anything you need.
And if you don't give it to him, you're gonna bury it underneath your house.
Yeah. But then as that police officer, do you take that money knowing they own you, or do you want them on your ass?
I would say that in a place like that, the
take the
majority
$50,000.
of them took the $50,000 for sure.
Yeah, because their life was better because of him.
Right.
They turned their back.
That's why people loved him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just gave countless dollars out to people. You see videos of him walking down the streets of Colombia and handing out, 100 stacks to people. He didn't know what else to do with all that money.
No. But most of the people in Colombia, until he started, like he blew up the airplane and stuff and in the hospital and shit, before he was doing that, most people getting killed by the cartels were people that were doing business with the cartels and it was wrong, bad business. Or it was one cartel gang trying to take over another cartel. Right. That's like Chicago, the south side of Chicago right now. I'm going to bet 90% of the deaths they have in that Highland Park deal is not Chicago. That's a whole different deal. But those people that live in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, where all that stuff takes place at, it's bad people killing bad people most of the time. They had a 7-year-old girl got killed this week with a stray bullet, and that's horrible. But majority of those are just shitheads shooting shitheads.
I thought Mom said that he didn't come from a broken home.
He didn't come from a broken home. I said that, but it was a fucked up family.
No, he did.
No, the mom and dad were still together. It was just screwed up.
It was just fucked up.
It was bad. They said it was horrible at home. His mom was pretty hot, and his sister was real hot.
So when he didn't come from a single parent home.
No.
But he came from a very violent home.
A lot of fighting and griping and bitching and
right.
I saw where a coach there said the home life was absolutely horrible. The kid was
and
not.
I bet money. If you look at his medical history, he's on antidepressants.
Look at him. Does he look healthy to you?
I haven't even seen the guy.
Oh, he looks. You know what I'm talking about? The kid at Highland. He looks horrible.
Yeah. You can pull him up.
Highland Park shooter.
He looks like a cartoon character almost. He looks that screwed up.
Really?
Yeah. But they said his home life, but he had both mom and a dad at home, but it was just not a very good life at home.
Is it this kid?
Yep, that's him right there.
That's him?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Now, does that kid look like... It's funny, the media, as soon as he came out, they wanted to put him because he went to a Trump rally because his family was a Trump supporter. He's got a big old A on his stuff. He was Antifa.
Right.
See it?
Yeah. Huh.
You imagine having a daughter and that comes over to fucking pick him up for a date? That's the kind of kid right there that honks at the road and says, "Hey, bitch, I'm here."
Looks like an old high graduate.
Today's old high graduate, not when I was in school.
He's even got the right colors on. He's wearing red and black. Old high, baby.
Did you see where Hershey's tailback had committed to Texas? Now he's going to USC.
I guess I didn't know.
The kid's a stud. Second rated running back in the country, or in the state of Texas.
They kind of turned things around the last few years. They were terrible when I was in high school.
All their athletes are going back to where they grew up at. I mean, where their parents and stuff went to school at. We've always had athletes. I think from 1980 to 89, they went to quarterfinals in every sport.
Right.
They were good. That kid is a screwed up dude right there. But I made a post on Facebook, and I'll stick with this.
Got you right in trouble. I took up for you, Jeff.
I did. I appreciated that very much. The
Don't do that very
majority of these mass shooters all have the same recipe. They're loners. They're not alpha males. You don't see a kid that's, well, he lettered in football 3 years, that's going around doing school shootings. It's all the same. It's the same deal all the time. They're on some kind of medication. They live in the fucking basement at their house. They paint their fingernails black. If your kid paints his fingernails black, you better watch his shit. It's the same. Am I right?
No, you are.
I mean, they all fit the same deal. And so, like, when you see a picture of a kid, you're like, well, that don't surprise me. If I could wore a dress to school.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fucked up kid. I don't know why it's so bad to say a kid's fucked up, but he was.
Let me see if I can find this. It's it was an article. Let me see. I'll have to dig a little bit. But it showed like all of the mass shooters, like the big ones, and it showed how soon after they got on SSRIs that they did these things. This might not be it. This might be another one.
And explain for the writer graduate what the SSRI stands for.
Antidepressants.
Okay, there you go. You had to dig first, so I dug second.
Serotonin something. That's not it. I'll find it. Maybe it's this one. Y'all can keep talking while I'm looking. Don't.
We've gotten way off the rabbit hole from the
Talking
app,
about-
haven't we?
Talking about drugs now.
Drugs, butt sex. It's a Dry Creek experience, folks.
Drugs and butt sex. Listen, whatever it takes to have a high
I was going to tell my
rebooking
mom
rate.
to go listen to this later, but
Ah,
might pass.
just tell her.
If
to
she's
skip
listened
parts
to
of
yours,
it.
any of these before, then she's probably heard some of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no. My preacher messages me about everything we talk about, so if.
That's funny.
And he's been on with us before. He knows. Well, I mean, we're the way you
Y'all have
talk
any-
at y'all's office.
Do y'all have any peanuts this year?
Yes.
You do?
There's not a lot less than last year. I'm sure there is. Everybody planted cotton this year because they thought they were going to hit. A lot of them, cotton prices way up, and they insured the shell of cotton, and then it's rained more than they thought it is, so now we're going to have a bunch of cotton probably.
Yeah, they were but back home that was the strategy, but everybody's already claimed insurance on most of it. It's all burned up already.
Well, there's a lot of it in Oklahoma that hasn't. That they've had that same strategy. They've had a whole lot of rain up there in some
Right.
places.
Yeah, from Frederick north,
Yeah.
it's been Hobart's been getting pounded with rain.
No, my whole guys in Hobart tell you they got pounded, but they've gotten rain.
There it is.
They haven't had the big runoff rains though. They get rain right to where it runs, but they've had good crop rains
Right.
in the last month and a half.
The Batman shooter was on Zoloft. I think he was on it just for a little bit. Eric Harris was on Zoloft and Lovex. He was the Columbine shooter. Never heard of Patrick Purdy. He was on an antidepressant. That was 89. Do you remember him, Jeff?
Didn't ever hang out with him.
I wasn't born yet, if that makes either one of y'all feel old.
Well, Andy just was 2.
23. He killed 32 dead, 23 wounded. I kind of remember
Where did he
his face.
shoot at?
China, looks like.
Prozac. Oh, he was Virginia Tech,
Oh yeah, goofy fucker.
2007. That put I was at Tech that year, and fuck, we had to jump through hoops. Don't remember him. Prozac shot and killed his grandfather, his grandfather's girlfriend. So that leads me to believe he's also living with his grandparents. Doesn't have a good home life. But anyway, I don't know him.
Am I the only one
But
that,
every one of them looks the fucking same.
am I the only one that thinks it's a little bit odd that they're trying to sell you rifle optics on the same page that we're talking about mass shootings?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's a little weird.
little off-putting.
Yeah.
This guy had Lexapro, Ambien, Benadryl, and Xanax in his system. So
Well, if you've ever taken Ambien, you can see why that would do that shit. I quit taking that crap. God almighty. It disconnects your brain.
That guy looks like Sid the Sloth.
Prozac, 3 weeks for Valentine's Day. Said he felt like a zombie.
You have to be a special kind of evil person to just go randomly shoot people. I understand people that have snapped and shot their wives before, because I have a wife.
God.
I mean,
Minute of rage.
yeah, I understand that shit. I have thought, if I had a gun right now, I'd probably shoot you. No, I've never thought that. But I understand.
You got to be careful with these red flag laws, Jeff. Like
No.
that can get you turned in.
Right. But I understand where people have snapped with a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a kid. And fucking kids will piss you off sometimes too. I understand where people have had these problems where they snap and they do something. I'm not saying they should, because they shouldn't. or someone's in a bad business deal with someone and someone screws someone over. I know a guy got screwed out of $2 million from his business partner one time. If he'd have killed him, he'd probably had a legit. If I was on jury, I'd have been a hard time convicting him of more than 1 day in jail for what got happened to him. But to just randomly go to a street corner and just start shooting at people, I don't understand how that happened.
Yeah, it makes for a twisted mind for sure.
I could understand someone killing some son of a bitch that sells drugs to kids or fentanyl to kids. You know, the football player for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, or
just
somebody harmed your family or wife or sister.
I understand that, but I don't understand just randomly killing people. The kid at Baltimore, the football player, he died of cocaine and fentanyl overdose. Yeah. Why would anybody take fentanyl on purpose? And I don't know if he did on purpose. But these people are buying this shit on purpose to get fentanyl. They say fucking the amount on a fucking pin drop can kill you probably.
Yeah. Well, they're lacing the cocaine with it.
Are the people that are doing cocaine doing it on purpose? Fentanyl on it?
No, I don't think so. I think they know. I think that they're just coming across stuff that is laced.
But what's the market for fentanyl then? There's people out there that are doing it on purpose.
Yeah, they have fentanyl pills and everything. I mean, there's.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody stopped that had like 500,000 fentanyl pills.
Did you see what they did to him?
That.
They let him go on their own recognizance.
No,
the judge did. Yeah, just come back to court in 3 months, okay? He's got $15 million worth of fucking drugs. You think he's coming back to court? Hell no. Yeah. He's going back to Mexico and you'll never see him again. That's what I would do if I got caught with that shit. But I don't understand why people take fentanyl. I know it's a painkiller. I know at hospitals they use it, but it's registered and stuff. But it's so deadly.
I won't name drop anybody, but I know somebody that's older that gets prescribed fentanyl patches and codeine because of hip replacement.
No,
and she'll put fentanyl patches on her wherever on her body, arm, whatever, to help with the pain or the hip, whatever. And she's so addicted to that stuff that she will take them off and soak them in tea and drink the tea so that she can extract as much as she possibly can out of the fentanyl.
Ooh. He's not going to name no names, but he gave us a hell of a detailed story on that shit.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
how do you even know that's possible?
That's what a lot of these people in nursing homes, these people that work there, have gotten in trouble for. No, they take the patches off them old people and then do the same type shit. Yeah, God, can you imagine drinking that shit? Ugh.
After it's been on your body for a week, it's just nasty.
And people are fucked in the head anyways. But that's what I'm saying, and this is the shit that I guess China makes that stuff. That's where it all comes from. Is China? I think is where fentanyl comes from.
I thought Mexico.
Well,
I think they use it through Mexico to get it here.
China's in cahoots with Mexico on distributing.
Yes.
So that we're, some more of that destroying our economy and our infrastructure. And
America is the world's medicine cabinet. You make the most fucked up drug in the world, ship it shit to America, and they're going to take that shit.
Oh, yeah. With pride, too.
I worked with a guy one time that was a big druggie, and I liked him. He's dead now. Died of a drug overdose, of course. But he was funny. He was a friend of mine, but he was a fuck up and a half. But he was one of them guys who couldn't. He was like Jeff Spicoli on Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I know that's way before your age. You probably have never seen that, have you? You've never seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Oh, that's a great 80s show. Anyways, this stoner surfer dude, this is what this guy reminded me of. But I saw him one time find a pill on the road.
Just took it.
And he fucking took that and he's looked at it. He goes, I wonder what that is. And took it. What are you doing?
It's got to be good.
And then another time I was at a party one night and he come out of the bathroom and he found a pill bottle, and he took some pills that were in this pill bottle, and this girl that lived there, she goes, "That were my grandma's pills. She had kidney dialysis or something she was going through, and that's a pill she takes to make her pee or something normal or something," what it was. He's like, "Oh, well, hell, that ain't going to give me no buzz." But just hoping he'd give him a buzz of some sort.
That's wild to me.
But if you was around him, you'd have liked him. He'd made you laugh because he was such a dumbass.
Yeah, just taking random pills.
But I watched him on Kemp Street at the Colored Tile parking lot, which is now Leslie's Pools. We're all sitting in there. Oh, shit, there's a pill. And he took the fucker.
God damn.
And he died of a drug overdose. And if I'm guessing, he probably took a pill that he wasn't supposed to take, and it killed him.
That's wild.
That's the fentanyl is the one thing, like, I'm pro legalizing marijuana just because, like, the shit that is getting laced, it just scares the hell out of me. Like, if we could regulate it, I think it would be
do that and just tax the hell out of it and
money
cash in on it.
We would have 9 grow houses in them rooms right there. We would not be in the goose hunting business.
Yeah. Well, but then it'd be so saturated like Oklahoma. Yeah. Those places can't even stay open in Oklahoma. There's one on every corner.
There's like 2 in Hobart. But
in fact, there's 2 on the little stretch of road from the turnoff at exit 1 to the casinos.
I went through Chickasha, I guess it was about a week ago now. And I counted 5 from the highway that runs to Oklahoma City all the way to El Reno, there were 5 grow houses. Or I say grow houses, distributors.
That's crazy.
See,
Yeah.
And I think we're too late because I know somebody in Texas that is waiting for it to get legalized, and he started like 6 years ago building an infrastructure. He got all like the URLs for Texas pot, it seems like.
Well, and the people that are ahead, like that guy right there, will be
Yeah.
the ones that are successful with it
Right.
when it is legal, because I think it will be eventually.
Now,
I would
2037.
I would much rather you be smoking pot and, you know, maybe driving from one place to another.
My mother
than
listens, and she's
drinking
not
alcohol.
going to appreciate you trying to get me on drugs.
Well, I'm not. Hey,
I've never smoked pot in my life, so
I
I will
haven't
never
either.
smoke pot. Now, I'm not saying if they didn't pass the gummy deal and I had a backache or something and a gummy, I would take a gummy if it made my back feel better. I ain't smoking anything. I don't like the smell of smoke. I can still smell the freaking varnish and lacquer in this building from us freaking remodeling.
I got a friend whose daughter got into some gummies in a refrigerator, 11-year-old girl,
Ooh.
and she ate about 45 of them.
Oh, my
Holy
God.
Shit. What'd they have to do?
Had to take her to the hospital. Luckily, the wife worked at the hospital and was able to talk to the daughter and just explain what was going on. So they kind of kept it on the hush hush. But he sent me a Snapchat of her slumped over in the chair in the living room, just sick as a dog with a bag of Cheetos on her stomach.
I mean, and really, like, there's nothing they can do at that point.
Yeah, not good.
You can't. I mean, it's not like alcohol where you can pump the stomach. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
that was
think.
a bad deal. Luckily, it was a fluke deal.
That's the shit that's scary about it, though.
Yeah.
but you know, I would love for my son to be straight laced his entire life. But how many times do you read like the first time that somebody did something, it was laced with fentanyl and fucking overdose?
That marijuana is going to be legalized in Texas one day. We're going to be one of the last states to do it. What I think is going to happen is the federal government's going to legalize it, then Texas is going to get on board. And so will the last 9, 10 states or whatever don't have it.
So
Oklahoma's the most conservative state in the country. Every state votes red. Every county votes red every time, and they have it.
Yeah.
And I understand that you have states' rights, but if the federal government says it, states still have to adopt it.
States would still have the right to not have it, but I think
say no?
I think when it goes federally, when it becomes federal, that they're not going to do anything and make it a federal. I guess I don't even know what word I'm looking to. That when the feds say it's legal to sell, then I think the states will jump in and say, "Hey, we're just going to go along with it." We're wasting too much money. I did see where Texas is going to try to put on the ballot to legalize gambling, and that's going to go hand in hand with marijuana. So when one of those gets done, the other one's going to get done. Every state should have legalized gambling, and every state should have legalized marijuana. I just if you're over 18 years old and you want to go gamble, you should be able to gamble. And if you're over 21 years old, they ought to let you buy pot if you want to, because we would be so much better off with it regulated.
Seems to me like some revenue for the state, because all they ever do is drive to Oklahoma and spend their money. Might as well spend it in Texas.
All Texas license plates in Louisiana. That's who's fighting the Texas gambling.
Yeah,
Louisiana and
'cause
Oklahoma.
Think about if they put a casino in Wichita Falls, that stuff in Duval up there would die.
They're fucked.
Yeah.
The Windstar, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Now it's on I-35.
Yeah, people drive
the
5-6
biggest
hours to go there.
casino in the United States of America. I think it's a mile long. Though, how much money the Dallas Cowboys, they sponsor the Cowboys. You got to have a lot of money to get your name put on Dallas Cowboy anything.
Yeah, it's something silly like $1 million a year at the stadium there.
Yeah.
Are they paying that? I figured they paid more than that. But that's the kind of money they have. Could you imagine the money they're paying a lobbyist to fight gambling in Texas? Them Indian casinos all get together, and they say, listen, Texas is wanting to do it. We'll give you $5 million a year. And every one of them sends $500,000 to them to fight this. And so lobbyists are fighting that left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening left and right. Do you see where the Cowboys, I guess, signed? Is it Black Rifle or somebody that signed them with the Cowboys?
Yeah, they're making a big stink.
Is
over
it Black Rifle that did it?
Yeah.
Because they have the AR-15 coffee, I guess, and they've got a coffee called Murder in it. The gun people are just going absolutely batshit crazy. I hope Jerry Jones comes to stick it up their ass.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I hope. Is the NFL on ESPN still?
I think Monday night.
Is it Monday Night Football? That's the only night I have to watch. I will not watch ESPN for nothing more. It's the most woke
You just got done watching the fucking College World Series and the Softball World Series. So it's real convenient for you to say that in June.
I'm not
July,
watching any of their
when
other
there's nothing
shit.
else on.
I ain't watching any of their
Well,
shit
yeah.
other than something I like.
I'm not going to watch anything on
I
it.
didn't-
I'm
I-
boycotting it for
Did I
except
watch
for the shit that I like.
I did watch the College World Series.
Yes,
I
you
see.
did.
No, you got hosed on that little call at first base, which was kind of a screwed up deal.
I saw that actually. That was like one of 3 plays I watched.
Me
in the whole
too.
deal.
I just turned it on and watched it
Yep.
from that on. I thought it was a bullshit deal. It was the right call, but it was a bullshit call.
Yep.
You know, and I don't dislike Ole Miss. I'm glad Ole Miss won. I didn't care. I mean, I didn't have a dog in the fight either way. I'm a OU guy when it's not Texas because I like them. They're our area.
How can you have that many blends of coffee? Look at that. So we've got, I mean, and it just goes and goes.
The guy
Yeah,
that's
if you're like me, you don't know the taste in any of them different from another. You know?
and you know
roast,
what?
Medium roast, medium roast, medium roast, medium roast, medium roast. Like, what's
The guy
It's a
that
cool looking bag, Andy.
I guess.
the guy that is at the bank right now that's cashing their checks is telling you because that's what we want to do. But anyways, the NFL, the Cowboys have these guys got a NASCAR deal and they've got this, so they're doing something right. But the NFL is catching shit over this. Murdered Out is the
There it
one.
is.
How can you have a coffee called Murdered Out and be the NFL? Well,
Simple.
what do you want to look at? You know,
Yeah, I mean, murdered
how many
out.
guys get in it? How many guys get arrested in the NFL every year?
The Yukon Outback is
Yeah.
murdered out.
Yeah, that's right. The AK-40 or the Dallas Cowboys. They signed. What was the defensive end? Greg Hardy beat the shit out of his woman. What precedents are they setting for your kids? Anyways, if you're raising your kids by the standards of a celebrity, you're not doing a very good job. If that's who you want your kid to look up to, you know there are some really good. Tom Brady. Who wouldn't want their kid to be like Tom Brady?
Did you see the hose he's got on him?
Andy, we don't talk about
Holy Toledo.
What?
that. But sex,
He's got
drugs,
a
and now Tom
fucking-
Brady's cock. We're talking
He's
about
got
now.
a hose on him.
Some
you guys-
are you looking up a picture right now?
Yeah, some guys just have it
God
all.
almighty.
Andy's Yahoo search bar is really tainted.
I just want to know why every time I come down here we end up talking about dicks.
Big ones. Let me see. Yeah, he's got a unit. So Giselle, his lovely wife. Let me see. The video might.
Maybe
be
he's
better.
had some work done because that second picture, he don't look like he's bagging a lot there.
He's got a unit. Look at that. Oh, where'd it go?
No chance of there being anything down in his drawers, I guess.
I mean, where are you gonna put it? That's skin tight, baby.
But that's the kind of guy, other than this part, that you'd want your kid to be like Tom
No,
Brady.
I want to root for him. Fuck yeah, he's got a supermodel wife and a big dick.
But majority of
That's exactly who I want my kid to be like.
a big part of the people in the NFL, you don't want your kids to be like. James Washington, a great kid.
I've not seen his hose, so
Well-
cannot confirm nor deny.
Well, when he's here in a couple weeks, maybe he'll show you it to you.
No, we're good.
But he's a great guy. If you had a daughter, that's who you wanted to marry. But you don't want if you're setting your standards on your player in the NFL and you're mad because they've got a coffee, look at the football team that you're going for and all the players on there. You know?
Mhm.
I agree, Jeff. I agree.
And the ESPN woke people they're all upset over this.
Huh?
But they're upset about
They're gonna
everything.
be pissed off about something else. Just give them a couple weeks.
Did you see where Brittany Griner wrote a letter to Joe Biden?
Who's Brittany?
Brittany
Griner?
Griner is the chick with the dick that plays basketball in the WNBA.
Oh,
She's got an Adam's apple and she can dunk. So she probably was born with a Pacletus. And she,
a what?
Pacletus, it's a penis and a clitoris
Oh.
together. She is, are you embarrassed that you're in here? We got an ex-Army soldier behind us in here, and he's like, oh my God. This is the kind of shit y'all talked about in the Army?
I bet
Yeah,
you,
probably.
I bet you it was a lot worse.
Yeah, I bet it was too. But anyways, she wrote a letter to Biden and said, I've never voted in an election. I voted for you. Can you please get me out? She took that. She went to Russia to play basketball, and she's got hash oil with her CBD. It's against the law. They put her in jail. It's a 10-year prison sentence.
I
She's
do
got to go.
remember that.
She's got to go to court over the deal. Well, she's wrote a letter. Well, now someone at ESPN come out. Well, if this was LeBron James, he'd get out. You know what? She ain't LeBron James, first of all. Second of all, I don't like LeBron James either. You know? So I don't really care either. But if he broke the law over there, you shouldn't expect a foreign country to bend over because you play sports. They don't give a shit. And right now is really not a time to be asking Putin for any favors anyways. You know?
Let's just run that credit card bill up just a little bit more
Yeah.
over there.
But anyways, she wrote a letter, and
fucker.
her wife, and the gay people, when they ask for their husband, I love you watching the cooking channel. Me and my husband, a guy says that, it just sounds really weird to me. It doesn't to you?
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not normal.
No, it's not. July 1st. So you've got 3 weeks. I'm going to reel this back in that way. Rustin looks nervous over there. You're 3 weeks away. Will we make the deadline
For the app?
for the app?
I hope so. I'm not actually too concerned about it because I'm going to slowly make that transition throughout towards the beginning of next year. So anything that I may, acquire after August, I will go ahead and kind of push that direction. But I'm not going to really push it on until probably after the first of the year because I want to get familiar with how all the invoicing and all that stuff works.
So how do they
I'm not sweating it too bad.
how do they test like the load? Like if there's like a massive surge of people to it, how do they test that the app will not crash? Or is it literally just
I think it's good up to a pretty sizable amount, and then once you reach a certain number of downloads, they know that you have to, increase your output.
right?
So that you do have to upgrade as people use it,
And is that, I guess that's just more money?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, it all costs money. There's monthly fees, and it's not outrageous though. After you get everything, your initial upfront costs, you pay a monthly bill or whatever, and it's like $190. But that's good for all changes. If I want to change the background photo on the login screen, or if I want to make my login screen a rainbow because it's Pride Month,
You can do that.
I
real
could do
easy.
that if I wanted to. But
Whoa! You're gonna do what now?
Jeff.
No, I heard what you said.
You got
I
to
heard.
cast a wide net these
No.
days, baby. You got to cast a wide net. The one thing that frightens me is if we did that, the amount of like data that we upload with each episode, it would just fucking
oh,
You'd
I
have
have
to
no.
have
Yeah,
all-
I mean, I think if you were trying to do podcast stuff with it, I think,
podcast and video.
man,
You
that
got
would-
You're gonna run through a
yeah.
lot of storage.
Yeah. One part that I didn't mention too is it's so if you are an account holder, it'll have a news feed also like similar to Facebook, so that you can like post photos from your hunt and whatever caption or whatever. Obviously, it gets approved by an admin before you can
Right.
just put it on there. But that way, your people that are showing up can log in and be like, oh look what they killed this morning or yesterday or whatever. Just kind of a way for everybody to engage.
Will there be like a video portion at some point, like of Dry Creek stuff?
I don't know. I really don't think so at this point. That's kind of the simplified. Obviously every year my goal is going to be to add a feature that
Right.
will, keep people intrigued and, keep me interested, even something to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah, yeah. It's you've added a lot of work to yourself.
It's a lot more than I was. I thought it was going to simplify things, and
Yeah.
I think it will in a sense, but it's, you're still going to be on your telephone all the time. It's not going to get rid of that,
Yeah.
So
Well, I
there's-
mean, and just like you were saying, like sending invites and emails and links but I mean,
most of that
it's gonna be
stuff will
one
be
spot for you,
automated,
though.
but
Oh, it will?
it'll be in one, in one deal. I mean, you'll have to sit down with each customer, in the back end and set up what you're going to want it to do. But once you do that, it should be pretty hands off.
and you said, is it a year subscription?
You're not going to have to pay for the app at all. The app will be completely free.
Okay.
Yeah, and anyone can download it, and you can create an account if you want to, like if you wanted to see news feeds or whatever. But the account essentially useless unless you're already coming to hunt with me.
Right.
Now, if you want to create an account because you just want to see what Joe Blow did when they hunted last Friday, you can do that, no problem, and you can post on there, no problem. But of course, it goes through
An
admin before it gets posted because.
So if someone calls you tool bag on there, you're not.
Oh, not. I think honesty, like Google reviews and stuff like that. Like I would never not approve something because I disagreed with it, but just off the wall stuff like vulgar.
Buy
BS.
Cialis for $9.99 a tablet.
Right.
That kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, or someone trying to sell something, I'm not going to approve it. But if someone says, "Hey, went there, didn't have a good time, Rustin was a jackass," I'll approve it.
See, I don't ever. People put stuff like that on ever. I just let it go. I mean, it don't
Right.
do you no good. The people that argue and fight that, it's funny. They're on some of the waterfowl forums. People debate this stuff over a product, especially, and they'll debate back and forth. Someone don't like someone's product, they just debate. Just let it go. Nobody's paying attention to that shit, anyways.
Right.
If you don't like Budweiser, it don't do you no good for the Budweiser people to argue because you don't like Budweiser. You're not going to change their mind.
Right.
So just let it go.
I'm most excited about the financing part because I think one, it's going to help some college kids out. I get a lot of people from Clemson, East Coast. Like the 90% of my business comes from the Carolinas and Georgia.
Really?
My entire January is all Carolinas, every single day.
And those kids want to pay.
And they're the ones that are like, hey man, can I pay you in 30 days? Like I don't get paid for another 2 weeks. You know, sure. You know, let's set it up on a 90-day pay, and if you pay it off sooner, then we'll void the.
I got some groups that hunt with me that I have some big groups that are groups of like 20 guys are together, and they pay me their deposits in 2 installments. They pay like in May and in July. And I'm good with that because I know it's a cash flow for me anyway, so it's okay. But that's really a good idea, though, because I think a lot of people are going to go for that. Yeah. Your corporate guys aren't going to do it, but it's going to be your groups of guys.
I'll tell you something else we're doing that's a little different that I thought was kind of creative is so we get our shotgun shells from Apex, and this year we got our logo printed on the shells, and we've hidden 4 shotgun shells amongst the cases. All shells are included in our hunt cost. So we give you essentially a box a day, more if you need it. But there's a hidden shell in each. I say each. There's 4 in 120 cases. There's 4 hidden shells. The idea behind it is that if you find this shell, then you get a free shotgun.
Oh no shit!
So you're giving away 4 shotguns,
right? 4 shotguns if you find the shell. Well, the shell is not going to be where you can just. You know, oh, there's a white shell. This is it. You know, it's going to have something written on it.
Oh.
In hopes that people will participate in picking up their trash.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
You got to look at the holes.
Yeah. So my logo's printed in black, but one of them may be printed and say free shotgun. The whole idea behind it is let your customers know, hey, there's 4 free shotguns we're giving away, and it kind of gives everybody some incentive whenever you're packing up to pick up all their crap.
That's pretty interesting.
Look at those bitches when
Pick
they go
up.
in.
All right, we jumping.
Pray that somebody missed it.
Rustin, you're a good friend of mine. You're like a thinner son that I have than Blake.
A thinner son.
Than Blake.
Then Blake.
And Blake. You would be about par for the course with other 3 boys, but you're a lot thinner than Blake is. You cast a smaller shadow than he does. Anyways, I appreciate you. I'm very proud of you. You did a really good job. This is a really good idea. You're good friends. We talk about a lot of shit today that you probably didn't want to talk about. But we did talk about your sex life today, so that's a good thing.
Or showers with
yes.
dark people.
It could have gone off the rails at any moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, appreciate it here. Wish you the best of luck.
Good luck with this app. We look forward to
You are the Dove
to
King.
the release.
Look up drycreekoutfitters.com. My friend Rustin Morgan. Take care and God bless you, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Before you get out of here, go check out all of our wonderful sponsors. Jeff's in a hurry. He's moving. Check out Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennel, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Bangtail Whiskey, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Lucky Duck, Shin Gear Waders, Gun Dog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells.